Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay and holding up well through all of this. Sunday morning around here, and I'm doing my weekly baking. Trying to get my breads caught up for us and a few little treats like scones and things. So one of the things I suggest is that you watch my videos entirely before you actually make them, because sometimes make a little mistake. I'm only human. And I am flying by the seat of my pants on all these things, doing them on my days off. So today's scone recipe, I forgot to add the butter to the dry ingredients before I added the liquids. So make sure when you're doing this recipe that you add the butter to your dry ingredients before adding the liquids. So once you've added all your dry ingredients in the bowl, take your butter out of the fridge cold, crumble it up into your bowl with your flour mixture. Give it a really good crumble, and just like we did in the biscuit recipe, and you will be fine. Now, I added my butter a little later on when I discovered that I'd forgotten it. No big deal. Just goes to show that you don't have to throw your ingredients out. You can improvise and do what needs to be done. Also goes to show I'm far from a professional. It is what it is. So, get your ingredients together. Remember, add your butter to the dry ingredients before adding the liquid, and you're going to have the most beautiful scones. And this afternoon, you can sit and have a cup of tea and your fresh scones, and it's going to be a perfect Sunday. Take care, everybody. Stay healthy and get baking. Good morning and welcome to the kitchen. Before we get started this morning, I would like to give a little bit of a shout out to one of my best friends, Kim, who bought me this beautiful pink handkerchief. She knows I love pink, and she knows I wear them in the kitchen all the time, so this was an amazing gift to get this week. Thank you so much, Kim. Love it. Today, we're going to be baking scones. People have been sending me messages asking, are they easy? Are they hard? How do we do it? So today I'm going to walk you through. What you're going to need for scones is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice or rind. Now, my lemons were too far gone in the fridge, so I'm going to use the juice instead of the rind. Doesn't really matter. You are going to need a 1/4 cup of butter, of course, cut up and cold out of the fridge. You are going to need 1 tablespoon of sugar, plus a little bit more, because we're going to dust the tops of these at the end with a little bit of sugar. You will need a 1/2 cup of cream or full fat milk. I'm going to use half and half because that's what I have in the fridge. You'll need 2 eggs and a 1/2 cup cranberries and a 1/2 cup of white chocolate chips. Preheat the oven to 425 degrees and line your baking sheet with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, just leave your baking sheet as is. You do not want to grease your baking sheet because it's just going to add extra butter into the recipe. Not that that's always a bad thing, but it may end up burning your scones. So, how are we going to get this going? Oh, before I forget. Measuring cups, spoons, you know the drill. You're going to need your big mixing bowl, a wooden spoon, a fork, and a separate bowl to do a little bit of mixing of eggs in. That's it. Basic stuff, right? Everybody has it in their kitchen. So first thing we are going to do is we're going to add our flour into our bowl. We're going to add our salt and our sugar. So when you're adding the sugar, you just want to add the, what did I tell you? 1 tablespoon of sugar. The extra little bit you're going to keep back for later. And we're going to add our baking powder. We're going to give this a mix to incorporate everything. And we're just going to put that aside for just a couple minutes. So over here, we are going to add our 2 eggs into a separate bowl. Again, probably should crack them in a separate container from where you're going to mix, but I don't, because I don't like to do the extra dishes. So my 2 eggs are going in there, and we're going to give these a really, really good mix with our fork. It's like you're making scrambled eggs. Same idea. And you will see them start to lighten up in color a little bit the more you mix them. And that's what we're looking for. Just that little bit of lightness in color. Makes the eggs a little bit fluffy. Adds a little bit of air into them. And to that we're going to add our half and half, or cream of whatever sort. Whipping cream is absolutely ideal if you have it. I didn't have any, so half and half it is. If you only have full fat milk, that's okay too. And we're going to give that a really good stir as well. And to this, we are going to add some lemon juice, but just hold on before you add your lemon juice. So we're going to take our mixture of dried ingredients that's in our bowl, make a well. We are going to add our lemon juice to this mixture, give it a quick mix, and into the center of that well it's going to go. Now, you're going to gently mix this together, pulling the flour from the sides into the center. And this is what it's looking like. So it's just going to take a few minutes to come together. So I'm just going to keep stirring here so I can show you what it's like. This couldn't be any easier. So right about now, we're starting to get like a shaggy dough. That's when I'm going to add my cranberries and my chocolate chips. And you know what I just realized? I forgot the butter. Hold tight. This should have went in when we had our flour mixture with just the dry ingredients. But I didn't do that. So how do you fix a mistake like that? This is how you're going to fix a mistake like that. I'm going to take a butter knife and I am quickly going to chop my butter into little tiny bits. See, it happens to the best of us, right? It's because I was so distracted with my pretty pink handkerchief. Not really, it's because I forgot. Okay, so we're going to cut that up into bits. We're going to put it in. Remember, this should have went in at the start with, at the start with the flour, dry mixture, and you would have incorporated it into your dough, so you would have made it a little bit crumbly. But I've cut it up small enough so that this is really not going to matter. So now is when we want to get our hands in here. So let me just grab a little bit of flour. We're going to flour the counter, and we're going to get this off of our spoon. We don't want to overwork this because it is a delicate dough. Remember our biscuits, we didn't want to overwork them as well, right? So, take it out. See what we've got here? A beautiful, beautiful dough. Give it a flip over. And it may be a little bit sticky, right? But you know the rules by now. If things are a little bit too sticky, add some flour to it. If it's a little bit too dry, add a little bit more cream. Don't want to overwork this. I'm just going to pat it out to, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, give or take. Again, not rocket science. Let me put my bowl aside, grab my baking sheet with parchment paper. Now, you can make this into a lovely round circle, and you get chips falling out, just poke them back in. Cranberries, the same thing. You can make it into a circle, take a knife and cut it into 8 pieces, or you can use a glass or a cookie cutter or some kind of a cutting utensil. Just gonna cut my scones. And remember, we haven't worked this very much, right? And it is sticking a little bit to my counter, so I'm going to reflour my counter once I'm done with my cuts for this first round. So you've got this shaggy, straggly bits. Just let me reflour just a bit, just a little bit of flour. We're going to push it all together and flatten it again. And we're going to recut our leftovers. And see how the top is not perfectly smooth and, well, perfect, right? We've got a little crack going through. That's okay. And you keep cutting and reshaping until, a bit more flour, until you're out of dough. They don't all have to be perfectly the same. That's the beauty of handmade stuff, homemade goodies. No one expects it to be machine perfect, and we don't want it machine perfect to begin with. That's why it's handmade, right? Okay. So what do I do with this little bit that's left? I'm just gonna round it up and put it on the baking sheet. And it's always the first one that gets eaten coming out of the oven. So here's my tray of beautiful round scones. You can use an egg white to brush the tops of these with if you like, but I'm just going to use the little bit of cream and egg mixture that's left in the bottom and put it on here quickly. It's just to give a little bit of a shine to our scones. Oh, we're gonna runaway chocolate chip here. Well, white chocolate chip. Okay. You'd be amazed how much is actually left in the bowl from the cream and milk mixture. Okay. And with just enough, give it in there, Cranberry. I'm not gonna fight with you. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of sugar. So I have a hand that's dry. I'm going to use that hand. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of sugar on the tops of these. And when I say a little bit of sugar, I mean a pinch. And that's it. They're going to go in my oven at 425 degrees. They're going to bake for 12 to 15 minutes until they're beautifully golden brown. And I'm going to pull them out and show you exactly what we have. See you soon. Oh my God, I wish you could smell how good it smells in here right now. These scones are absolutely beautiful. Let me grab them and I'll show you what they look like. Oh, deliciousness on a tray. Let me just put them over here. Pull some off and I will show you how beautiful they are. Okay, so let's just put that there. Even though the butter was added later, it's still a beautiful product. Don't ever start your recipes, make a mistake and throw it out. There's always some way that you can fix it. When I added the butter like I did, you will notice a little bit more butter coming out on your baking sheet. It's okay. They're absolutely beautiful scones. Let me cut one and show you. Look at these beauties. Like, absolutely gorgeous. Cakey, cranberries, white chocolate chips with a hint of lemon. I'm gonna eat them. You can eat these with butter. You can eat them without anything. They've got so much flavor in them. I'm gonna add a little bit of the last of my baked apple jam from home, which, by the way, my sister Janine, it's the last of my baked apple jam. Just saying. Absolutely delicious. A good cup of tea, and we're laughing. Sorry, trying not to talk with my mouth full. Give it a try. Remember, add the butter before you add the wet ingredients. Crumble it up so it looks like a coarse crumb mixture. You won't have the butter coming out on your pan like I did. You will love these. Make them your own. You've got the basic recipe. Instead of cranberries and chocolate chips, add some cheddar cheese or any kind of cheese that you prefer, some herbs. You can add cinnamon, raisins, you could, whatever. Add some walnuts, pecans, make them your own. Remember, send me your creations because I love seeing your pictures, and happy baking.